I appreciate everyone who could join me here in this auditorium, and a big hello to those that are joining me on Zoom. It's great to be back here. It's been almost 2 decades since the last time I was here. In fact, the last time I was here, there was no YouTube, there was no Facebook, there were no iPhones. And if you're wondering how old is this guy, well, let me assure you, there were color TVs the last time I was here, okay? So I've been around for a while in the world of pricing research and worked with a lot of products and have a lot of companies. It was 18 years ago that Procter & Gamble asked me to help understand the financial impact of increasing prices on their various products. Pepto-Bismol, Prilosec, Crest, and a lot of P&G brand managers kept coming to me with the same question: what would happen to our revenue if we wanted to increase price? Of course, from Economics 101, we know that there are products that are not differentiated, that have a lot of substitutes. They tend to have elastic demand curves. Increasing price will decrease revenue. Conversely, differentiated products with few or no substitutes tend to have inelastic demand curves, and you can increase price as long as it's morally acceptable. Prilosec was one such product. When P&G put them on Walmart shelves, they sold out in days. The CEO of Walmart was furious. He called the CEO of P&G and told him, in no uncertain terms, if there are no Prilosec on the shelves, in 2 days, they would start delisting Joy, Dawn, and other products until they had Prilosec again. P&G scrambled and they bought back millions of dollars of Prilosec from Kroger and various drugstores just so they can stock Walmart stores. I'm telling you this story to illustrate what happens when you misprice a product. Pricing is the single most critical business decision a manager can make. You may mess up your advertisement and target the wrong customer, and you find out that you messed up in 6 to 12 months, and then you tweak your targeting a bit and your performance will improve. But if you mess up your pricing, you find out the next day. Certainly, a month later, a few months later, the company will be in big trouble. Okay, so pricing was complex 18 years ago. Now think about the complexity today. Imagine the offering of a Saas provider, offering 20 different features and functionalities, maybe in a good, better, best approach. Each company slightly different from its competitors. Competitor A is strong on feature 1, 2, 6, and 10, while competitor B is strong on 2 and 4 and 5, and both of them are strong on feature 6 and 10. How do you make sense of all of this? How do you get it right? Well, that's what I'm here to talk about today. What do you need to consider to get pricing right? What are some of the guidelines to cut through all this complexity? All right? So before I start, I want to give credit to some pricing pioneers, some pricing giants, as I call them, that I was lucky enough to learn from. Herman Simon, one of them, Tom Nagel. These are 2 giants in the field of strategic pricing. And more recently, Ajit Guman has published a fantastic material on practical pricing. And also people like Patrick Campbell is someone I highly recommend in the field of pricing that you can learn from. So pricing research is now a science, and you cannot ignore the science if you want to do well in the market. So let's talk about pricing, okay, especially in the world of software as a service. The first lesson I want you to remember is that pricing can never happen in a vacuum. Pricing is intimately intertwined with, number 1, your product, and number 2, your corporate strategy. During this journey of setting optimal prices, you need to understand a couple of things, but first and foremost, number 1, what product package or packages will you bring to the market? Number 2, what value metric will determine your pricing model? Number 3, what will be your pricing schema? And number 4, what will be the actual price point? So these 4 things you need to remember. But first things first, before you even start thinking about pricing, you need to think about what it is in the mind of the prospect, that when the prospect hears about your product for the first time, what is it that they think about? If you were to see a short video ad or some advertising message the first time about your product or service, what would immediately be your questions. These happen in split seconds, and the first is likely, who is this for? Is this relevant to me? Then immediately thoughts such as, but what benefits will this bring to me? And then, how is this better than others I am familiar with? You and your marketing team needs to have a clear idea on how to position your product before you move forward. Why is this important? Because the first questions in the minds of the prospect is this for me? And you had better know the answer to that. You better know that you've created a product for that person. If you don't know what that prospect needs are, you don't know what solutions you need to create. And if you don't know what needs to be solved for, you don't know what features to create. And if you don't know what features to create, or you should create, you can't price your package. Very simple. So pricing is at the end, and knowing your personas and their needs is number one. So let's say you find out that there's 3 personas, each with unique sets of needs. Well then, in this case, you need to create 3 packages, each package deliberately created for the set of needs for each persona. In each package is a set of features that's most relevant to that particular persona. There are a couple of ways that you can do this. One is a common Saas pricing method called Good, Better, and Best approach, or GBB, that you have all seen and you're very familiar with. These are gradually increasing capabilities with packages designed to do the best job in solving each market segment's unique needs. And this is a good approach when you have a large market, lots of potential clients, and most of the clients tend to fit into one of these personas. When your clientele is very heterogeneous, and they may be in different industries, and they have vastly different willingness to pay, a modular pricing method may be more appropriate. This is more custom created, a flexible combination of the features at unique price points that fit the particular client's needs the best. This is why you need to understand the market segments and your personas before you can offer any offering and then price anything. Only once you understand your key market segments and their needs and then you start designing solutions, you need to determine your pricing metric. This is probably the biggest decision during this process. So I should probably repeat it, maybe a little bit slower. The decision with the biggest consequence is setting your price metric or pricing metric. It is often referred to as value metric. What does this mean? Well, you need to figure out what it is that drives perceived value. And you need to set your price proportion to that value. Let me illustrate how critical it is. Imagine that your clientele is a handful of companies in the US, maybe 10 insurance companies. At each of those companies, perhaps 10 agents use your software. And you have a total of 100 users, correct? So you decide that the value metric is how many people use your software at these insurance companies. You decide to charge $100 per month per user. You now have an annual recurring revenue of $120,000. Or you then figure out that these agents process an average of 10,000 insurance claims a month. That is 12 million claims being processed on your software a year. You find out that your clients are willing to pay $50 for processing 500 claims. With that new information and that new value metric, you can make 10 times as much. So about $1.2 million all of a sudden. Simply by switching your value metric from charging by seat to charging by insurance claims processed, you have a vastly different business outcome. So let's talk about these value metrics. Value metrics can be mainly in 2 key main categories. Okay, number 1, consumption-based. More value is created as more of the service is used or consumed. For example, by seat or by users. The more users a software can have, the more value the software creates to the client, and this can be great, where there's lots of potential users, right? It can also be consumption-based pricing. So based by pricing by usage, a software that tends to create SMS text messages, for example. The more SMS messages you send out, the more valuable it becomes to you. This was number one, consumption-based. Number two is capability-based. Okay, so you can increase perceived value by adding a capability. For example, adding an advanced statistical capabilities to an analysis software. It's usually an add-on or a module. Okay, if you have a product for which consumption or usage is easily measurable, and it ties well with the perceived value of the client receives, you should consider consumption-based pricing method. If you land on a consumption-based value metric, per use, per seat, etc., you need to determine your pricing schema. Pricing schema is how you will charge for the value metric. And this is where creativity comes in, okay? This is very creative. The first is very self-explanatory. A simple linear model, the more they use it, the more you charge. Using this model often helps in product adoption. There's no risk or upfront commitment. If my client wants to dip a toe, they only pay for what they use. It's very little risk. Your problem is that too many people dipping their toes will not produce much revenue for you. So the second schema is what I call a two-part model. Here you first charge a setup fee and then consumption fee, say $50 per gigabytes used. This will help you with more predictable revenue and certainly more profitable model. This is very common in today's Saas world, but it can actually still suffer from the same problem as the linear model, especially if the upfront fees are negligible. The third schema is a tiered schema. It's very clever, and here's how it works. There are perhaps 3 tiers of usage. Let's go back to the service that allows you to process insurance claims. The first tier is for $2,000, which allows you to process up to 10,000 insurance claims. That is 20 cents per insurance claim processing if you use it all the way to the top. If you, however, go past your 10,000 insurance claims, you need to pay an overage fee, maybe 40 cents per insurance claim. This overage fee can be painful and steep if you happen to end up processing 20,000 insurance claims. Your customer may need to pay $6,000. While it's a nice chance revenue for you, it can be unpredictable for you and painful for your client. So that's why there is another tier, a higher tier, only for $3,000. You can have 30,000 claims to process. Now this incentivizes your client to switch up to the next tier and creates a much more predictable revenue flow for you. It's a clever way to create a peace of mind for your client and a higher and more predictable revenue stream for you. You're using human psychology to control your customers. You create solutions that sound very affordable. Your customer feels like they got a steal at first. You create a situation where your customer is likely to have to break the boundaries. Okay, so 10,000 is very likely for them maybe to break those boundaries that they were supposed to stay within. When they do, 2 things happen. First of all, they feel bad. We're using more than we said that we would. And then they pay these overage fees. You now created a situation that is uncomfortable, but your customer actually will feel that they themselves are the reason for this uncomfortable situation. So they're using more than they said that they would. So magically you come and save the day with a fantastic solution. Hey, why don't you just subscribe to the next tier? And which will give you so much more for a much lower per insurance fee processed. And your client will be happy to switch up. So as you see, pricing is strategic, it's vital, it's very creative. And I talked about how to set the right pricing schema today. And in the next session, I will talk about how to actually set the price points. Thank you.